Hello， 大家晚上好啊！我是CaKano的Chita，欢迎收看今天晚上的节目。那今天一样是我们的接下来会全英的一个哄睡节目。如果依照我念的速度的话，应该还会有一次。那如果有很讨厌故事被打断的人，我只能跟你说声抱歉了。小宁，欢迎加入打酱，欢迎。安安，晚上好，满月了，恭喜！不想听英文的话，就右上角叉叉吧。没关系，今天还有很多很精彩的节目的。好的，那我们先喝个水，接下来就要用英文喽。Okay, so before I start reading the book, there's something I must say. I mean, if you try to catch all the arrows in real time, then why don't you just go find the audiobook instead of me reading you the book here? If there's one way to stop me from reading, that's the reason for sure. Prepare streaming in English is already tough. When I still need to be careful with all the phrases I use or the words I've spoken, then it's not fun at all. At least, to me, it's make me stressful. I'm not telling you not to do so. I'm just curious about what kind of joy it'll bring you to catch all the mistakes I made while I'm reading the book. That's one of the education problems I found in Taiwan. Unless you're 100% correct or else don't speak, then, I mean, how am I supposed, or how do people be supposed to practice with joy? That's how you stop people from speaking a foreign language, isn't it? Okay, I'm supposed to tell a story and let you guys go to bed, so let's stop here. Thank you for the membership. I will cut out your guy's name at the end of the stream. Let's start reading a story from now. Good evening and welcome back. Tonight, the little prince continues his journey. He's left behind the roads he didn't quite understand. And now, he's traveling from planet to planet, meeting grown-ups who act in strange and lonely ways. But don't worry, there's no rush to understand everything. Just get cozy. Close your eyes if you like, and I'll read you gently through the stars. Chapter 9. I believe that for his escape he took advantage of the migration of a flock of wild birds. On the morning of his departure, he put his planet in perfect order. He carefully cleaned out his active volcanoes. He possessed 2 active volcanoes, and they were very convenient for heating his breakfast in the morning. He also had 1 volcano that was extinct. But, as he said, one never knows. So he cleaned out the extinct volcano too. If they are well cleaned out, volcanoes burn slowly and steadily, without any eruptions. Volcanic eruptions are like fires in a chimney. On our Earth, We are obviously much too small to clean out our volcanoes. That is why they bring no end of trouble upon us. The little prince also pulled up, with a certain sense of dejection, the last little shoots of the baobabs. He believed that he would never want to return. But on this last morning, all these familiar tasks seemed very precious to him. And when he watered the flower for the last time and prepared to place her under the shelter of her glass globe, he realized that he was very close to tears. "Goodbye," he said to the flower. But she made no answer. "Goodbye," he said again. The flower coughed. But it was not because she had a cold. "I have been silly," she said to him at last. "I ask your forgiveness. Try to be happy." He was surprised by the absence of reproaches. He stood there, all bewildered, the glass globe held arrested in mid-air. He did not understand this quiet sweetness. "Of course I love you," the flower said to him. "It is my fault that you have not known it all the while. That is of no importance. But you have been just as foolish as I. Try to be happy. Let the glass globe be. I don't want it anymore." But the wind? "My cold is not so bad as all that. The cool night air will do me good. I am a flower." "But the animals?" "Well, I must endure the presence of 2 or 3 caterpillars if I wish to become acquainted with the butterflies. It seems that they are very beautiful. And if not, the butterflies and the caterpillars, who will call upon me? They will be far away. As for the large animals, I am not at all afraid of any of them. I have my claws." And naively, she showed her 4 thorns. Then she added, "Don't linger like this. You have decided to go away. Now go." For she did not want him to see her crying. She was such a proud flower. He found himself in the neighborhood of the asteroids 325, 326, 327, 328, 329, and 330. He began, therefore, by visiting them in order to add to his knowledge. The first of them was inhabited by a king, clad in royal purple and ermine. He was seated upon the throne, which was at the same time both simple and majestic. "Ah, here is the subject," exclaimed the king, when he saw the little prince coming. And the little prince asked himself, how could he recognize me when he had never seen me before? He did not know how the world is simplified for kings. To them, all men are subjects. "Approach, so that I may see you better," said the queen, who felt consumingly proud of being at last a king over somebody. The little prince looked everywhere to find a place to sit down, but the entire planet was crammed and obstructed by the king's magnificent ermine robe. So he remained standing upright, and since he was tired, he yawned. it is contrary to etiquette to yawn in the presence of a king. The monitor said to him, I forbid you to do so. I can't help it. I can't stop myself, replied the little prince, thoroughly embarrassed. I have come a long journey, and I have had no sleep. Ah, then, the king said, I order you to yawn. It is years since I have seen anyone yawning. Yawns, to me, are objects of curiosity. Come, now, yawn again. It is an order. That frightens me. I cannot anymore, murmured the little prince, now completely abashed. Replied the king. Then I order you sometimes to yawn and sometimes to... He sputtered a little and seemed vexed. For what the king fundamentally insisted upon was that his authority should be respected. He tolerated no disobedience. He was an absolute monarch. But because he was a very good man, he made his orders reasonable. If I ordered a general, he would say, by way of example, if I ordered a general to change himself into a seabird, and if the general did not obey me, that would not be the fault of the general. It would be my fault. May I sit down? Came now a timid inquiry from the little prince. I order you to do so, the king answered him, and majestically gathered in a fold of his ermine mantle. Majestic. But the little prince was wondering. The planet was tiny. Over what could this king really rule? Sire, he said to him, I beg that you will excuse my asking you a question. I order you to ask me a question, the king hastened to assure him. Sire, over what do you rule? Over everything, said the king, with magnificent simplicity. Over everything? The king made a gesture which took in his planet, all other planets, and all the stars. Over all that? Asked the little prince. Over all that, the king answered. For his rule was not only absolute, it was also universal. And the stars obey you. Certainly they do. The king said, they obey instantly. I do not permit insubordination. Such power was a thing for the little prince to marvel at. If he had been master of such complete authority, he would have been able to watch the sunset, not 44 times in one day, but 72, or even 100, or even 200 times, without ever having to move his chair. And because he felt a bit sad as he remembered his little planet which he has forsaken, he plucked up his courage to ask the king a favor. I should like to see a sunset. Do me that kindness. Order the sunset. Order the sun to set. If I order a general to fly from one flower to another like a butterfly, or to write a tragic drama, or to change himself into a seabird, and if the general did not carry out the order that he had received, which one of us would be in the wrong? The king demanded. The general or myself? You, said the little prince firmly. Exactly. One must require from each one the duty which each one can perform. The king went on. Accepted authority rests first of all on reason. If you ordered your people to go and throw themselves into the sea, they would rise up in revolution. I have the right to require obedience because my orders are reasonable. Then, my son said, the little prince reminded him, for he never forgot a question once he had asked it. You should have your son said, I should command it, but according to my science of government, I shall wait until conditions are favorable. When will that be? Inquired the little prince. Replied the king, and before saying anything else, he consulted a bulky almanac. 等一下，要睡觉的赶快去睡觉。Go to sleep. How am I supposed to read this word? Give me a sec. Almanac. He consulted a bulky almanac. That will be that will be this evening about 20 minutes to 8, and you will see how well I am obeyed. The little prince yawned. He was regretting his lost sunset, and then, too, he was already beginning to be a little bored. I have nothing more to do here, he said to the king. So I should set out on my way again. Do not go, said the king, who was very proud of having a subject. Do not go. I will make you a minister. Minister of what? Minister of Justice. But there is nobody here to judge. We do not know that, the king said to him. I have not yet made a complete tour of my kingdom. I am very old. There is no room here for a carriage, and it tires me to walk. Oh, but I have looked already, said the little prince, turning around to give one more glance to the other side of the planet. On that side, as on this, there was nobody at all. Then you shall judge yourself, the king answered. That is the most difficult thing of all. It is much more difficult to judge oneself than to judge others. If you succeed in judging yourself rightly, then you are indeed a man of true wisdom. Yes, said the little prince, but I can judge myself anywhere. I do not need to live on this planet. Said the king. I have good reason to believe that somewhere on my planet there is an old rat. From time to time, you will condemn him to death. Condemn. From time to time, you will condemn him to death. Thus, his life will depend on your justice. But you will pardon him on each occasion, for he must be treated thriftily. He is the only one we have. I, replied the little prince, do not like to condemn anyone to death, and now I think I will go on my way. No, said the king. But the little prince, having now completed his preparations for departure, had no wish to I guess it's grief. Yes. Had no wish to grieve the old monarch. If your majesty wishes to be promptly obeyed, he said, he should be able to give me a reasonable order. He should be able, for example, to order me to be gone by the end of 1 minute. It seems to me that conditions are favorable. As the king made no answer, the little prince hesitated a moment. Then, with a sigh, he took his leave. Let me drink the water. Give me a sec. Good night, good night. I made you my ambassador, the king called out hastily. He had a magnificent air of authority. The grown-ups are very strange, the little prince said to himself as he continued on his journey. Chapter 11. The second planet was inhabited by a conceited man. I am about to receive a visit from an admirer, he exclaimed from afar when he first saw the little prince coming. For the conceited man, all other men are admirers. Good morning, said the little prince. That is a queer hat you are wearing. It is the hat of salutes, the conceited man replied. It is to raise his salute when people acclaim me. Unfortunately, nobody at all ever passed this way. Yes, said the little prince, who did not understand what the conceited man was talking about. Clap your hands, one against the other. The conceited man now directed him. The little prince clapped his hands. The conceited man raised his head in a modest salute. This is more entertaining than the visit to the king, the little prince said to himself, and he began again to clap his hands, one against the other. The conceited man again raised his head in salute. After 5 minutes of this exercise, the little prince grew tired of the game's monotony. Monotony, 单调的。And what should one do to make the hat come down? He asked. But the conceited man did not hear him. Conceited people never hear anything but praise. Do you really admire me very much? He demanded of the little prince. What does that mean, admire? To admire means that you regard me as the handsomest, the best dressed, the richest, and the most intelligent man on this planet, like Chita. But you are the only man on your planet. Do me this kindness, admire me just the same. I admire you, said the little prince, shrugging his shoulders slightly. But what is there in that to interest you so much? And the little prince went away. The grown-ups are certainly very odd, he said to himself as he continued on his journey. The next planet was inhabited by a tippler. This was a very short visit, but it plunged the little prince into deep dejection. Plunged. Sorry. Plunged. But it plunged the little prince into deep dejection. What are you doing there? He said to the tippler, whom he found settled down in silence before a collection of empty bottles and also a collection of full bottles. I am drinking, replied the tippler with a too many objectives in these stories. Lugubrious, replied the tippler with the lugubrious air. Why are you drinking? Demanded the little prince. So that I may forget, replied the tippler. Forget what? Incurred the little prince, who already was sorry for him. Forget that I am ashamed, the tippler confessed, hanging his head. Ashamed of what? Insisted the little prince, who wanted to help him. Ashamed of drinking. The tippler brought his speech to an end and shut himself up in an impregnable silence. And the little prince went away, puzzled. The grown-ups are certainly very, very odd, he said to himself as he continued on his journey. Good night, good night, good night. The fourth planet belonged to a businessman. This man was so much occupied that he did not ever raise his head at the little prince's arrival. Good morning, the little prince said to him. Your cigarette has gone out. 3 and 2 make 5, 5 and 7 make 12, 12 and 3 make 15. Good morning. 15 and 7 make 22, 22 and 6 make 28. I haven't time to light it again. 26 and 5 make 31. Phew. Then that makes 501,622,731. 500 million what? asked the little prince. Oh, are you still there? 501 million. I can't stop. I have so much to do. I'm concerned with matters of consequence. I don't amuse myself with balderdash. 205 make 7. 501 million what? Repeated the little prince, who never in his life had let go of a question once he had asked it. The businessman raised his head. During the 54 years that I have inhabited this planet, I have been disturbed only 3 times. The first time was 22 years ago, when some giddy goose fell from goodness knows where. He made the most frightful noise that resounded all over the place, and I made 4 mistakes in my addition. The second time, 11 years ago, I was disturbed by an attack of a rheumatism. I don't get enough exercise. I have no time for laughing. This third time, well, this is it. I was saying then 501 millions. Good evening. Good evening. The businessman suddenly realized that there was no hope of being left in peace until he answered this question. Millions of those little objects, he said, which one sometimes sees in the sky. Flies? Oh, no. Little glittering objects. Bees? Oh, no. Little golden objects that set lazy men to idle dreaming. As for me, I am concerned with matters of consequence. There's no time for idle dreaming in my life. Oh, you mean the stars? Yeah, yes. That's it. The stars. And what do you do with 500 millions of stars? 501,622,731. I'm concerned with matters of consequence. I'm accurate. And what do you do with these stars? What do I do with them? Yes. Nothing. I own them. You own the stars? Yes. But I have already seen a king who... Kings do not own. They reign over. It is a very different matter. And what good does it do you to own the stars? It does me the good of making me rich. And what good does it do you to be rich? It makes it possible for me to buy more stars, if any are ever discovered. This man, the little prince said to himself, reasons a little like my poor tippler. Nevertheless, he still had some more questions. How is it possible for one to own the stars? To whom do they belong? The businessman retorted peevishly. I don't know, to nobody. Then they belong to me, because I was the first person to think of it. Is that all that is necessary? Certainly. When you find a diamond that belongs to nobody, it is yours. When you discover an island that belongs to nobody, it is yours. When you get an idea before anyone else, you take out a patent patent on it. It is yours. So with me, I own the stars because nobody else before me ever thought of owning them. Yes, that is true, said the little prince. And what do you do with them? I administer them, replied the businessman. I count them and recount them. It is difficult, but I am a man who is naturally interested in matters of consequence. The little prince was still not satisfied. If I owned a silk scarf, he said, I could put it around my neck and take it away with me. If I owned a flower, I could pluck that flowers and take it away with me. But you cannot pluck the stars from heaven. No, but I can put them in the bank. Whatever does that mean? That means that I write the number of my stars on a little paper, and then I put this paper in a drawer and lock it with a key. And that is all? That is enough, said the businessman. It is entertaining, thought the little prince. It is rather poetic, but it is of no great consequence. On matters of consequence, the little prince had ideas which were very different from those of the grown-ups. I, myself, own a flower. He continued his conversation with the businessman, which I watered every day. I own 3 volcanoes, which I clean out every day. For I also clean out the one that is extinct. One never knows. It is of some use to my volcanoes, and it is of some use to my flower, that I own them, but you are of no use to the stars. The businessman opened his mouth, but he found nothing to say in answer. And the little prince went away. The grown-ups are certainly altogether extraordinary, he said simply, talking to himself as he continued on his journey. The 5th planet was very strange. It was the smallest of all. There was just enough room on it for a street lamp and a lamplighter. The little prince was not able to reach any explanation of the use of a street lamp and a lamplighter. Somewhere in the heavens, on a planet which had no people and not one house. But he said to himself, nevertheless, it may well be that this man is absurd, but he is not so absurd as the king, the conceited man, the businessman, and the tippler. For at least his work has some meaning. When he lights his street lamp, it is as if he brought one more star to life. Or one flower. When he puts out his lamp, he sends the flower or the star to sleep. That is a beautiful occupation, and since it is beautiful, it is truly useful. When he arrived on the planet, he respectfully saluted the lamplighter. Good morning. Why have you just put out your lamp?
Oh, those are the orders, replied the lamplighters. Good morning.
What are the orders?
The orders are I put out my lamp. Good evening.
and he lighted his lamp again.
But why have you just lighted it again? Those are the orders,
replied the lamplighters.
I do not understand,
said the little prince.
There is nothing to understand,
said the lamplighter.
Orders are orders. Good morning.
And he put up his lamp. Then he mopped his forehead with a handkerchief decorated with red squares.
I follow a terrible profession. In the old days, it was reasonable. I put the lamp out in the morning, and in the evening I lighted it again. I had the rest of the day for relaxation, and the rest of the night for sleep.
And the orders have been changed since that time?
The order have not been changed,
said the lamplighter.
That is a tragedy.
From year to year, the planet has turned more rapidly, and the orders have not been changed.
Then what?
Asked the little prince.
Then the planet now makes a complete turn every minute, and I no longer have a single second to repose. Once every minute, I have to light up my lamp and put it out.
That is very funny. A day lasts only 1 minute. Here where you live.
It is not funny at all,
said the lamplighter.
While we have been talking together, a month has gone by.
A month?
Yes, a month. 30 minutes, 30 days. Good evening.
And he lighted this lamp again. As the little prince watched him, he felt that he loved this lamplighter, who was so faithful to his orders. He remembered the sunsets, which he himself had gone to seek in other days merely by pulling up his chair, and he wanted to help his friend.
You know,
he said,
I can tell you a way you can rest whenever you want to. I always want to rest,
said the lamplighter. For it is possible for a man to be faithful and lazy at the same time. The little prince went on with his explanation.
Your planet is so small that 3 strides will take you all the way around it. To be always in the sunshine, you need only walk alone rather slowly. When you want to rest, you will walk, and the day will last as long as you like.
That doesn't do me much good, said the lamplighter.
The one thing I love in life is to sleep.
Then you are unlucky, said the little prince.
I am unlucky,
said the lamplighter.
Good morning.
And he put out his lamp.
That man,
said the little prince to himself as he continued farther on his journey.
That man would be scorned by all the others, by the king, by the conceited man, by the tippler, by the businessman. Nevertheless, he is the only one of them all who does not seem to me ridiculous. Perhaps that is because he is thinking of something else besides himself.
He breathed a sigh of regret and said to himself again,
That man is the only one of them all whom I could have made my friend. But his planet is indeed too small. There is no room on it for 2 people.
What the little prince did not dare confess was that he was sorry most of all to leave this planet because it was blessed every day with 1,440 sunsets. Give me a sec. Give my book a sec. Oh no. Oh no. Where am I now? Do anyone know? Where am I now? No, not here. Not here. Okay, not here. Definitely not here. No. Oh, okay. Chapter 15. The sixth planet was 10 times larger than the last one. It was inhabited by an old gentleman who wrote voluminous books. Voluminous books. Oh, look, here is an explorer, he exclaimed to himself when he saw the little prince coming. The little prince sat down on the table and panted a little. He had already traveled so much and so far. Where do you come from? The old gentleman said to him.
What is that big book?
Said the little prince.
What are you doing?
I am a geographer, the old gentleman said to him.
What is a geographer?
Asked the little prince. A geographer is a scholar who knows the location of all the seas, rivers, towns, mountains, and deserts.
That is very interesting,
said the little prince.
Here, at last, is a man who has a real profession.
And he cast a look around him at the planet of the geographer. It was the most magnificent and stately planet that he had ever seen.
Your planet is very beautiful,
he said.
Has it any oceans?
I couldn't tell you, said the geographer.
Huh?
The little prince was a little disappointed.
Has it any mountains?
I couldn't tell you, said the geographer.
And towns? And rivers? And deserts?
I couldn't tell you that either.
But you are a geographer.
Exactly, the geographer said. But I am not an explorer. I haven't a single explorer on my planet. It is not the geographer who goes out to count the towns, the rivers, the mountains, the seas, the oceans, and the deserts. The geographer is much too important to go loafing about. He does not leave his desk, but he receives the explorers in his study. He asks them questions, and he notes down what they recall of their travels. And if the recollections of any one among them seem interesting to him, the geographer orders an inquiry into that explorer's moral character.
Why is that?
Because the explorer who told lies would bring disaster on the books of the geographer. So would an explorer who drank too much.
Why is that?
Asked the little prince. Because intoxicated men see double. Then the geographer would note down 2 mountains in a place where there was only one.
I know someone,
said the little prince.
who would make a bad explorer.
This is possible then. When the moral character of the explorer is shown to be good, an inquiry is ordered into his discovery.
One goes to see it?
No, that would be too complicated. But one requires the explorer to furnish proofs. For example, if the discovery in one question is that of a large mountain, one requires that large stones be brought back from it. The geographer was suddenly stirred to excitement. But you came from far away. You are an explorer. You should describe your planet to me. And having opened his big register, the geographer sharpened his pencil. The recitals of explorers are put down first in pencil. One waits until the explorer has furnished proofs before putting them down in ink. Well, said the geographer expectantly.
Oh, where I live,
said the little prince.
It is not very interesting. It is all so small. I have 3 volcanoes. 2 volcanoes are active and the other is extinct. But one never knows.
One never knows, said the geographer.
I have also a flower.
We do not record flowers, said the geographer. We do not record flowers, said the geographer.
Why is that? The flower is the most beautiful thing on my planet.
We do not record them. Record them, record. We do not record flowers, said the geographer.
Why is that? The flower is the most beautiful thing on my planet.
We do not record them, said the geographer, because they are ephemeral.
What does that mean?
Ephemeral? Geographies, said the geographer, are the books which, of all books, are most concerned with matters of consequence. They never become old-fashioned. It is very rarely that a mountain changes its position. It is very rarely that an ocean empties itself of its water. We write of internal things.
But extinct volcanoes may come to life again.
The little prince interrupted.
What does that mean? Ephemeral.
Whether volcanoes are extinct or alive, it comes to the same thing for us, said the geographer. The thing that matters to us is the mountain. It does not change.
But what does that mean? Ephemeral,
repeated the little prince, who never in his life had let go of a question once he had asked it. It means which is in danger of speedy disappearance.
Is my flower in danger of speedy disappearance?
Certainly it is.
My flower is ephemeral,
the little prince said to himself.
And she has only 4 thrones to defend herself against the world, and I have left her on my planet all alone.
That was the first moment of regret, but he took courage once more.
What place would you advise me to visit now?
He asked. The planet Earth, replied the geographer. It has a good reputation. And the little prince went away, thinking of his flowers. Okay. That is for today. I mean, you guys are having a great conversation in my chatting room, isn't it? Should I, or do I have to explain what I'm talking about today? Okay, so part 2. 今天这个第二部分是那个小王子飞到了不同的星球，遇到了不同的人。那一开始呢，他先是跟那个上一次我们说那个他跟一个花朵在对话，他跟他的那个星球的花朵在对话，对，然后那个花朵不懂得，那个花朵有点后悔，对。然后接下来那个小王子就没有盖上那个盖子，就没有保护那个玫瑰花，就直接出门了。没错。Then the first planet, chapter 10, the king. The little prince met the king, who only gives orders that will be obeyed, whether or not they make sense. 一个没有统治任何东西的国王，但他还是会做出决断。虽然好像不是今天晚上应该要讲的话题，但其实很像很多上司啦。对。I make an order, you shall not disobey.
But what's the order? I can't understand. What's the order? You can order the sun to set?
因为小王子啊，在他原本的星球，他很喜欢看日落，他很喜欢每天看很多次的日落。因为小王子的星球很小嘛，他很快就会转一圈，他很快的就可以再看到日落。所以他就问那个国王：“我想要看日落，可以吗？拜托，你可不可以命令太阳？”那国王当然是不可能的。好，接下来 Chapter 11, the second planet. The vain man. The man with a head that should be admired. like Chita. 小王子遇到了一个只能接受赞美的一个大人，对，那个大人说：“我是这个星球最漂亮、最帅、最聪明、最有钱的人，但那个星球只有他自己。” I mean, is this what social media is turning us into? Have you ever caught yourself craving compliments more than real love? Oh my god. Hi, welcome Nokori and 团子们。我们今天晚上的故事已经结束了，我现在在介绍小王子的每一个章节，我今天念的每一个章节。我们刚刚已经讲完了第9、第10还有第11章的内容了。那如果想要听英文内容的话，可以到时候看回放档。So then, the chapter 12, the third planet, the drunkard. It's kind of awkward when someone like him, he drinks to forget the shame of drinking. Hi, good night. Time for you to go to sleep, Nokori. 第12章呢，他遇到了一个一直在喝酒的人，一直在喝酒的大人。他说：“为什么你要喝酒呢？因为我想要忘记那个喝酒的羞耻。”完蛋了，好像我们这些大人总是自相矛盾。He drinks to forget the shame of drinking. Okay, you make the reason. Sounds good. Sounds good. Have you ever been trapped in your own loop of avoidance? Okay. So that's what happened in chapter 12, the third planet. Then the little prince traveled again to the fourth planet. He met the businessman. The businessman, a man who counts stars and claims to own them, but never looks at them with wonder. 这个商人呢，他一直在数星星，一直在 counting stars， 可是他却从来没有抬头看过那些星星。他只是把这些星星记在一张纸上，说他拥有了它们。本来是想要说跟我们现实生活中一样嘛，但我们那个账户里面的钱是领得出来的，所以好像有一点不一样。Okay. Do you think there's a difference between owning something and truly appreciating it? I do think so. I do think so. 所以那个商人啊，他就是一直数。当他发现有新出现的星星的时候，他就OK， 没有人发现过他，那他又是他的财产了。他还因为没有运动得了风湿，就是他曾经一次的被打断数数的时候，就是因为他没有运动。可是他还是很坚持要数数，那其实也蛮厉害的，说实在的。对，但小王子也觉得很无聊啊。小王子就想说，奇怪了啊，我如果有一个围巾的话，我可以用它；我如果有火山的话，那个小王子的锅炉是那个火山，因为小王子星球所有东西都很小嘛，所以他都带着火山出去，火山的火可以帮他加热他的食物，这样子。他就带着他的火山，然后他拥有一朵花，他看到这是他拥有的东西，所以他不理解为什么商人一直要去看一个自己没有拥有的东西，或者说 他没有办法使用的东西，而且还一直说，哦，这个东西会让我变有钱 ，OK， 哦，这个东西，哦，这个数字只要变高，那我就是一个有钱人。小王子不理解，想说，完蛋了，这已经是我遇到的第4个奇怪的大人了，那我只好继续朝向下一个目标迈进喽。So then, the 5th planet, the lamplighter. A man who faithfully lights and extinguishes a lamp every minute, and even if it makes no sense anymore. 那这个点灯的人呢？还蛮像我们的吧？还蛮像我们的吧？他一直遵从一个指令，是当太阳升起的时候要把灯熄灭，当太阳落下的时候要把灯点亮。他就这样子40几年日复一日做着同样的事情。可是那个星球变了，那个星球每1分钟太阳就会升起来，每1分钟太阳就会落下，所以他完全没有时间休息啊。他完全没有时间睡觉，他本来有时间睡觉的，他就要在前1分钟把那个灯点起来，下1分钟把灯熄灭，下1分钟再把灯点起来，下1分钟再把灯熄灭，那就好累，然后擦了个汗，然后没有得休息，可是他却一直遵从着这个指令。那小王子就想说，我好不容易找到一个可以当成我朋友的人，可是他好吧，至少他不是只在乎自己的人，因为像前几个星球嘛，那些大人都只有在乎他们自己。对，至少这个 lamplighter 他在乎的是那个灯的亮跟那个灯的暗。对，所以那个小王子其实还是很敬佩这个人了。对，但也因为实在是太闪了他说他总共看到了那个太阳升起，我刚刚不是说吗？小王子很喜欢看那个日落的样子，所以他每天都很喜欢看日落。但这个星球的日落太频繁了他快被闪瞎双眼了，所以他继续踏上了他的旅程。Then Chapter 15, the 6th planet, the geographer. A scholar who records things but never explores. He tells the little prince about Earth. 那这个最后一个我们念的章节呢，他遇到了一个地理学者。这个地理学者做了些什么事情呢？他负责记录事情，但是他从来不去探索。他说：“对啊，记录这件事情很重要，可是我需要有探索的人出去探索完回来，我才可以把它写到本子上面呢。你没有跟我讲这里有几座山，这里有几条河，那我怎么会知道这里有几座山，这里有几条河？”就是一个常年坐在办公室的老伯伯，记录着不知道到底是正确的还是不正确的事情。最后小王子还是鼓起勇气，他问说：“那如果我要去下一个星球的话，你会建议我去哪里呢？”这次他终于给了一个我觉得算是一个很棒的答案吧。他说：“那你就去地球吧，地球，我有听过很多他的好话了，虽然我没去过，但好像大家都说他不错。”对，所以下一次我们的小王子就会降落在地球咯。那在地球，它就会有很多的邂逅， 包含跟我们的主角这些就会发生在下一次的故事当中。那你们觉得，奇塔像是以上的哪一种大人呢？算了，你们还是不要回答我好了。Yes, don't answer that question. I'm not curious at all. Okay, so that's for today. Today, the little prince traveled through all the planets. She met a lot of adults that are kind of weird, kind of like loving themselves over than everything. The little prince has just arrived on Earth, and soon he'll meet the creatures who will change him forever. But that story for another night. For now, thank you for joining me under the stars. Sleep peacefully, and I'll be waiting for you in the next chapter. Good night. 感谢妮妮子加入1个月的塔塔酱，然后欢迎陈云加入塔塔酱。那今天的节目就到这边结束喽，我们今天也不降落了。希望大家已经睡着了。OK， 你们还在回应，代表手机还没有砸到脸。那就先这样吧。晚安啦 ，Good night. Hope you have a good day.